Doesn't matter who you are, what you do, or what kind of dog you have, or even if you have a dog, Flyball is the sport for you. Welcome back, guys. It's Alex for another Flyball and Friends video. Today we're talking to someone that's been playing for agility for quite some time. And without further ado, here she is. All right, thank you, Tracy, so much for being here. I'm super excited to getting to talk to you. If you could introduce yourself for everyone today.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tracy Sklenar from Roanoke, Virginia.
That's awesome. So how long have you been playing Flyball for?
I've been in Flyball. I'm pretty new. I've been in Flyball for 18 months, but it is a really important part of my life, so I plan on being in Flyball for quite a bit longer now.
That's awesome. So how many dogs do you have?
I have 10 dogs, which seems like a lot, and it is because I have 3 young dogs right now because I just had to have them and I love them all. So I have a 14-year-old Border Jack, an 11-year-old Border Staffy, a Border Terrier mix, not a Flyball mix, just a Border Terrier mix, Poodle, 2 Papillons, a Mixie mix, a Border Staffy, a Border Whippet, and a Border Whippet Papillon puppy who's currently banging things around behind me, and a Crawley, which is a Croatian Sheepdog Border Collie mix.
Wow, so you got a mix of everything.
Yeah, there's a lot of Border Collie in the house. They're just not all in one Border Collie. A lot of Border Collie, a lot of Terrier, Papillons who think they rule the planet. You know,
that's awesome.
It's not a quiet household. It's pretty,
That's cool. So what do you do for a living?
I am an agility instructor for a living, full time. So I get to teach online at this point and travel around and give seminars and do a lot of agility training, which is really a cool way to live. Really
That's
fun.
Cool. So now, Miss Agility, what got you playing Flyball?
A slight accident. My almost 2-year-old dog, my Mixie mix named Hot Sauce, is from a Flyball breeder in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And so I agreed, all right, fine, I'll learn how to play Flyball. Sure, why not? And so she was too young, you know, you can't start at 12 weeks. So I took some lessons with a great instructor who's not terribly far from me. And I figured it's a new sport and I'm gonna screw it up. So might as well screw it up on dogs that will never play Flyball. They'll never compete. And so my Crawley didn't really care for tennis balls. So I had to teach him how to pick up a ball and all that. But the Papillon, I figured he's a good learner dog. I can screw it all up on him. So the Papillon Nacho decided that Flyball is God's gift to this planet. He learned the entire sport in about 20 minutes. And he said, we will always do Flyball, let's get it done. And he has turned out to be, he does like 4 8s. Freaking Papillon.
That's awesome.
And it is awesome. He basically went from not knowing anything about picking up a ball and retrieving it to competing in about 6 months.
Wow, and that's not normal nowadays.
Yeah, it is. That's what I tell everyone. It's not normal. It should not be expected. It's a freak of nature. But he got addicted, so of course I got addicted. And there's plenty of support in the area, and it's just been great.
That's awesome.
Nacho no longer does agility, really. Now he's just Flyball all the way.
That's cool. So how often does your team practice?
My team, who I love, they practice, in normal times they practice maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks. I unfortunately live about 3.5 to 4 hours away. So I might get to practice with them once every couple of months. But they're super supportive, and so we exchange videos and ideas all the time. So even if I can't see them in person, they're super great about helping me along with all the dogs.
That's awesome. And what team is that you're with?
Canine Kamikazes, yay! Out of Richmond, Virginia area. They kind of saw me wide-eyed and wandering around at, an early tournament where I was just gonna go do warm-ups. And they just adopted me and took me under their wing. And I'm so lucky because they are truly a group of outstanding individuals that make an outstanding team.
That's awesome.
I'm so lucky about that, yeah.
I'm glad you found a team to keep it with you, so that's awesome. Now, is there something you would recommend to someone starting out in Flyball, being so new?
Yes, you must keep an open mind. I think there's, in any dog sport, not just flyball, there's preconceived notions. And what I've learned is that I know nothing, and if I just keep my mouth shut, which is hard, and learn, you'll be amazed at where you can go. Because of course, as an agility person, my preconceived notion was, oh my God, flyball, it's so loud. Those dogs are so out of control. I mean, I'm sure you've heard this. This is not new information. Only a couple of thousand times. And it turns out that the most impressive thing about flyball is the amazing focus and precision and control that these dogs have in that high octane, high arousal environment. It's a little mind-blowing, and if I had not come in with an open mind about it, I would have not ever dreamed it could be a thing. And so I was able to learn how to get that and learn what the dogs needed, and now we can take that into all of our other sports, because yeah, it's noisy, whatever, but man, these dogs are not out of control. They are totally on their game with these fast precision behaviors, and that has been a huge learning experience for me to see how fast these dogs can go and still get it done so brilliantly. It's amazing. So I always tell people who are like, what do we do to get started? I'm like, you go on with a completely open mind and no preconceived notions, and go with being super reinforcing to your dog and break these behaviors down, and you'll be impressed with the results. Pretty cool. Really cool stuff.
That's a good way.
Yeah,
that's a great outlook that you have on this sport just starting out. It's just amazing to be able to hear that. So thank you so much for promoting our sport and showing that it's not just a bunch of crazy dogs.
No. I mean, that's at least coming from a different sport. The preconceived notion is, oh my God, there's so much arousal. It must be just over the top. It must be chaos, and it's not. Because at least in the tournaments I've been to, you've got 4 dogs in each lane and maybe 2 dogs waiting outside the lane, and people everywhere, and dogs getting ready to go in. And sure, like any sport, nothing's perfect, but wow, there is an intensity of focus and precision that is happening that I don't think people understand until they get in those lanes and see it firsthand. It was kind of a mind blow for me, which is fun, a really nice new experience.
For sure. Now, with your first couple tournaments that you've been to, is there a dog that stands out to you more that you've gotten to watch race?
Sure, there's tons. We have so much diversity in this region. One of the very first tournaments that I went to, I wasn't on a team. I was doing warm-ups for the first time. It was the first time I'd ever gone. And I'm standing there watching the racing, and there's a dachshund, right? And he is kicking ass, taking no prisoners, down and back as fast as little legs will go. He's going, his reward was like a giant bucket of food. The dog's name is Cooper, Shelly Swinnick's dog. And I turned to someone I knew, and I'm like, holy cow. And he was not a young dog. He was a veteran, he knew his stuff. And I'm like, that is amazing, it blew my mind. And just the fact that no one batted an eyelash, that it's a dachshund out there kicking butt at a high level, right? So that dog stuck with me. And then I was lucky enough to go to Can-Am for the first time last October. And another mind blow was watching the finals and seeing all of what I call the pointy dogs, like the whippets and the border whippets, yeah. All those super fast dogs, pointy dogs, seeing how they could go out there in that fishbowl high intensity environment, nail it as fast as they can, come back, check their Facebook, so chill, waiting. Oh, it's time to go. Oh, let's go. It's like amazing. And there was this one dog named Beat who is owned by, I think the dog's name is Beat, owned by someone I knew from agility for a million years generally. And the dog would go out there, do his thing as fast as he can, and then come back and be perfectly chill. And we'd look at the clock, and there was like a 3-4. And a 3-4 in Napa is, I don't know about you guys, but that impresses daylight out of me. And then it had like a slow heat. It was like a 3-5 or something. And it was like this speedy, precise, wickedly amazing dog. And the handlers are working hard, but the dog was barely, breaking a sweat. Like, this is total focus, total control. And so that really stuck with me at how amazing all those, not just the pointy dogs, all the dogs, but I did not have any clue that they could be so incredible and then so chill. Wait your turn. And then so incredible, and then so chill. So that really was an outstanding thing to see. Just impressive stuff.
That's cool. So how many tournaments have you been to so far?
Oh, 8 maybe? I haven't actually counted. I know, complete newbie here, novice. Once every 6 weeks or so, once a month, once every 6 weeks in this region, we get out to a tournament. So it's been tournaments around the region, and then the big trip out to Can-Am, which is a blast. Really
so do you have a favorite tournament yet that you like going to other than Can-Am?
So far, the Sweet Tea tournament, which is put on by For Fun, which I think is usually the end of April. That is an amazing tournament, and it may not always be my favorite tournament because supposedly the Coconut Classic is better, but this whole pandemic thing has really screwed it all up. And so last year's Sweet Tea was the first time that my Papillon Nacho was racing for real, and it was just an amazing, touring tournament. So much support, so much fun, great food, great laughs, really lovely facility. So that one, so far that one is my favorite, but I'm hoping to keep sampling all the different tournaments to see how the others stack up. No pressure.
That's awesome. All right, so what's the furthest you've been for Flyball so far, other than Can-Am?
Not that far, at least not compared to agility. Agility, we've been to Europe. Flyball, it's been all in like a 3-hour range approximately, because my team likes to stay in region and I like to be with my team. And so maybe at some point I'll travel further, but we're so lucky to have just amazing tournaments within, striking distance of 2 to 3 hours, or there's one that's about an hour from me, that it's worth it just to stay in this area. High level competition in a relatively close area.
That's awesome. So is there another place that you'd still like to go for Flyball though?
Well, there are some hot spots, like the Midwest, there's some good teams. I heard there's some good stuff in Texas, right? I would love to go to that FCI International Flyball World Cup, at least to spectate at some point. All these high in the sky dream things would be so much fun to do. The sky's the limit for all of that.
100%. Now, do you have any outdoor tournaments in your area?
We do not. Everything is indoors, either on turf or mats.
Fair enough.
There's
okay.
We're in the southeast. Sorry, I don't know where I am. USA. It gets really hot, and so we can't ask for the intensity of Flyball out like at 2 in the afternoon in the heat. That would be way too much.
Fair enough. Is there anything you do to help with any of the heat that you get in your area?
Tons of conditioning. If I'm going to ask my dogs to work that hard, they're going to need to be fit. So like right now, say that next week, all the tournaments open back up, I can't run my dogs. They're out of shape because we've been sitting on our bums here since March. And so tons and tons of conditioning. And I'm lucky because I can be with my dogs a lot. So when it's hot, I'll take them out midday and run and train and all that. So conditioning. And then we also make sure that they've got cool downs and all those, fancy, all the things we don't buy for ourselves, fancy blankets and, specialty care, so that the dogs really can have proper warm up and cool down to stay safe in that environment.
For sure. That's awesome. Now, is there something that you bring to tournaments that would be considered weird to someone else?
I had to think hard about that one because it turns out that, at least in my area in Flyball, people don't really think you're weird at all, because either none of us are weird or all of us are weird. And so I think the two things that are a little bit weird, one is there's a lot of RVs and campers, and in the agility world, we all have like these big X-Pen things where our dogs have basically gated communities. And in Flyball, that's not a thing in this area. So I'm pretty sure people think I'm a nut job with my little gated community, which is fine. And the other thing that I think is weird is that I bring a Papillon to Flyball. And he's a huge Papillon. He's not that, but he's big and he's got a blue tail. So here I am with my blue Papillon and my gated community, which might be a little bit weird. So
that's cool. All right, so now what would be one of the most important things you learned about Flyball when you first started?
Oh, that balls are for bringing. That was important. My dogs did not fully understand that you actually had to bring the ball. But now they do. That is good. A couple of the other things have to do with respecting the needs of the dog. And that was a concept I already knew. But in flyball, you are really not right there to help them.
Yeah.
And in other sports I've done, you can really influence what the dog is doing with handling. And in flyball, there's handling, but you still need the dog to go do it by himself. And so there's a lot of how to convince the dog to go that far for me, do the thing with all that distraction and come back to me. So that was a big learning curve, was I can't use as many body cues as I'm used to. I had to really create a ton more independence in the dogs. That was a really fun learning curve as well, because every dog's a little different.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of, getting clever about what each dog needed.
Now, did you get to run anyone else's dogs being so new?
Of course, that's how they got me hooked. When I first picked up Hot Sauce, who's this big from her breeder, Julie Toon, I picked her up at a flyball tournament, and I'm hanging out with my new puppy. And so Julie said, "All right, you're gonna run a dog." And I, of course, got all wide-eyed. And they basically gave me a dog that totally knew the game so well that all I had to do was basically let go at the right time, get out of the way, and then brace for impact on the tug toy. And it was just so fun. I mean, it was just so fun. And then with my team, the first time I met them, they were like, "Here, you're gonna run a dog." And they gave me this really awesome border collie to run. And he also totally knew his job. And so I got to run him. That was a hoot. And now that we go to more tournaments, sometimes another team needs a dog to run, and I'll handle the dog. Or there's a dog on our team named Merlin. He's a big beast of a dog. He's so fun. And I'll handle him sometimes because his mama has her new young dog coming up. So we end up switching out dogs more and more, which is so fun. It's fun for us, hopefully fun for the dogs too.
For sure. Most of those point and shoot dogs, I don't think they know who's handling them, and they just like running. So
Right, exactly. As long as I had the cookies for the toy, they were happy.
that's right. All right. So what exactly do you like about playing flyball?
Oh, the energy, the environment, the community itself has been fantastic. So you're going to get smiles and happy people, and there's always someone who's going to be helpful and fun, and I really appreciate that. And then the actual racing itself is just a rush. It's an adrenaline rush. And so not only do you get to see how fast you can go, which is something I like in any sport, how fast can I go? But there's also the precision of, okay, my dog is doing his job perfectly. Now it's up to me to get my passing right. And so learning the passing game has been really great. And then being able to reproduce the good passing. As with everyone, I think has been a really, really fun challenge, because you're talking about hundreds of seconds, thousands of seconds. And so to be able to try and be as zoned in that high octane environment into thousands of seconds is just amazingly fun. I like the puzzle of it. Super fun.
For sure. Have you wanted to start a dog yet?
Yes, once. I need some practice. I need to get a video of the countdown so I can obsess on that. So I started a dog at Can-Am running someone else's dog, and they told me exactly what to do, and I think I was okay. But to get it to the point where you can try and get as close to perfect starts as possible, I think I need some practice. I think I'd be needed a little time on my hands there to do that.
For sure. Now, is there a team out there that you would still really like to see race?
As such a newbie, it's kind of all of the above.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching Animal In, for example. That is a group that I had heard of before, so it was really, really cool. And then watching the Ontario groups like Rocket Relay and some of those groups, some of those really, really famous, those are teams that I'd like to see more in person. One of my dogs is from Aaron Robbins from a million years ago, my border staffy. So there's a connection there way back in agility, and it's just really neat to be able to see teams like that either in person or on video racing to see how fast they can go. Really fun to see.
That's awesome. All right, so now what would be one of your favorite memories of flyball, whether it's on or off the racing lanes?
Oh, I've got two favorite memories.
Yeah.
One is the very first time when my instructor said, okay, he's ready to start going to a tournament. I didn't have a team. I show up at a tournament about an hour down the road from my house, and I've got my dog and my little pop and his little balls. And I'm just gonna do like the night before the warm-ups. And I had no clue. And I come from a sport where you're more solitary. So I was expecting the same thing. And I walk in and people are like, how can we help? What do you need? What do you need? How can we help? Here's a box. Here's the balls. Do you need a box loader? Should we get the balls? And I swear to you that like 8 people went in with me in my turn just to help some new person in a old Papillon do flyball for the first time. So it was just amazing how helpful those people were. And then a smaller memory, which is also really fun, is in the lanes in a race. This was at a tournament at Thanksgiving where I was running second and one of my teammates was running first, my teammate Mary. And right before she says, you know, she's ready to the judge, she turns to me and she goes, if we win this, we're going to win the division. And then she just looks down the lane again. I was like, oh, let's go. Right? I guess she had been keeping tabs. And I was like, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure. And we did. We nailed it and ended up winning the division and getting a little, flyball trophy. And that was just a really fun moment of, this is going to be awesome. Let's do it. We're all in this together. Let's go. So that's a memory that'll stick out for a long time.
That's awesome. So do you have any personal goals playing the sport?
Go as fast as possible. The goal of getting your passes as safely tight as possible is always there. And I don't obsessively keep records on anything except my passes. Like where I stand, where I let go. You should see the list that I keep on my phone. It's unbelievable. So that way I can remember. And then when I get the dog out, I'm like, okay, passing this dog on this is where you. So it's a little obsessive on that. And it would be fun to go to Can-Am and see how fast we can go against some of those other teams, and then maybe see where that takes us in the future. We've got all of these young dogs coming up, so it'll be really fun to see how fast and safe and precise we can get our teams running.
That's awesome. That's a good goal. All right, now, who do you have as a mentor that you have in flyball?
I am super lucky that I am a mere 2 hours from Julie Jenkins of For Fun and her facility Quicksilver, which is this gorgeous facility. And I would say that she taught Nacho flyball, and then she and Nacho taught me how to handle, right? So Nacho knew flyball, and then she and Nacho together got me in shape. And she's just a great dog trainer and a great friend, and she will tell it like it is, but also keep you extremely motivated. So she's able to recognize the needs of my different dogs, because we've got all these dogs in training now, what each dog needs, and problem solve and obsess and have a laugh and share coffee or drink or whatever. And so it's always moving forward and trying to be competitive, but without pressure. And she never once looked at me and said, what do you mean you're going to play flyball with a Papillon, right? It's always been fun and inclusive, and she definitely, I'm pretty sure that at any point I could send her a message and be like, help me with this. And I'm pretty sure she'd be right there for it, which is just a really nice thing.
That's great. That's awesome for Julie for helping you for that. Now, do you have any hobbies other than flyball and agility?
Yes, I love to cook. I also love to eat, which is not great for pandemic when there's nothing else going on. But cooking is just so much fun. It's so relaxing because, for those times, you're setting things up, you just can clear your mind. So that's one of my favorite hobbies. Every now and then, my hobby of yoga and running, it comes back and then it goes away. I really wish my yoga and running hobby could stay more dominant in my life, like cooking, but those are the top two, really.
That's awesome. Well, thanks, Tracy, so much for all your stories and everything. The only thing I have left now is if you're able to challenge somebody to do an interview with me that's not on your team. Do you have anyone in mind?
Yes, I challenge Emily Rose Allred from South Carolina of That's So Fetch to do an interview, because She is a particularly awesome person that I think we could all learn from.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for challenging. I will reach out to them hopefully really soon and get them on the channel. Other than that, that's all I have, Tracy. So thank you again so much for taking time out of your day to be with me. And it was great meeting you. And hopefully we'll see each other on the racing lanes real soon. Thanks again, Tracy, for doing this. It was wonderful being able to meet you. If you guys are new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell to get all the notifications when a video drops. If you guys would hit that like button as well, just to show your support, and leave any or all comments down below. If you guys would like some more information on Flyball, make sure you check out the links in the description below. Also, I will leave a link to my Instagram page if you guys want to check that out and give me a follow. Also, if you would like some more information on Tracy's team, there is a link in the description below. Until next time, guys, see you then.